I'm Charlie Sykes, and this is Uncorked. So we're back here at Wine Maniacs on the river in the 5th Ward with Jeff to talk about wine again. Hey, it's good to be back here.
Absolutely. Welcome back to the Insanity.
Yeah.
So how did the winter whites work out?
You know, that was great. I have a bias towards reds, but that was a great addition.
Fantastic. So I think today we can talk about wine in context. And we hear all kinds of opinions on what wines people should drink. And they take their cues from varietals that they hear about. They read all kinds of wine magazines. Right. There's the philosophy that you should drink whatever you like.
Mm-hmm.
And
which seems reasonable.
It does, except it tends to make life kind of one-dimensional. Americans tend to look at wine as a replacement for cocktails and beer, which is why they tend to like these big, massive wines, because they're used to the taste of cocktails. If you go to Europe, wine is all about food. And there's really very little recreational wine drinking happening in Europe because that's when they're drinking beer and cocktails. When it gets to food time, it's all about the wine and the right wine with the right course. The advantage that Americans have, though, is they can really take both approaches. And there is absolutely a place for big, amazing, jammy, high alcohol reds versus the very subdued European wines. So once again, we come back to the theme. To learn about wine, it's really all about drinking it. Here, you have a really, truly amazing Pinot Noir. This was actually vinted in the year 2000 by Eugenia Keegan, and it's actually called Keegan. This is a Russian River Pinot, but it's unfined and it's unfiltered. And it tastes like any other Pinot that I've ever had. Just let's give it a try.
Oh, it's bright.
It really is.
Yeah.
But compared to many of the Pinots out there, this drink's almost more like Cabernet.
No, it's full-bodied.
Even though the alcohol level is pretty subdued, and it's absolutely phenomenal food wine.
So what would you match this with?
It's beautiful with cheese. It's beautiful with any kind of charcuterie, but it's absolutely amazing once you start getting to heavier beef dishes where you would not necessarily consider Pinot Noir as a great option.
Heavy beef.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
There are points where the wine should be the star, and there's absolutely points where the food should be. It's all about the dryness when you get to food. And dryness is a term that a lot of people shy away from because they really don't like that feeling in their mouth.
All right, so we're still talking about the context of wine. You have another Pinot Noir.
Mm-hmm. So this will give you really a very weird divergent from the last wine, which was the Keegan. This is actually French red Burgundy, which is always 100% Pinot Noir. And this is actually where Pinot Noir was indigenous. This is where it grew up. This was the beginning of all Pinot Noirs everywhere in the world. So you get these deep berries, tremendous structure. Almost all red Burgundies are oaked, but you would never really identify it. And a lot of it is because they use very old oak. It's not designed to impart so much flavor as it is texture. So these are incredibly well-made food wines. Rarely is the alcohol level above 13%. Most of them are 12.5, right on the screws.
So what would you pair this with?
Any kind of sausage, any kind of game, really. Duck, goose, roasted chicken, any kind of pork. Pork roasts in like hoisin sauce are amazing.
So on to the next one. This is Moniker from Mendocino County.
It is part of the whole idea of don't blame the grape. And as a wine guy, one of the things I hear all the time is I don't like Merlot, I don't like Zinfandel, I don't like Chardonnay. And invariably, we can throw 6 different, very different Chardonnays together, and people who hate Chardonnay will love 4 of them. This is something entirely different again. What you get is this big Bing cherry up front and this long-lasting, amazing finish for food.
Now, this is very, very different than the other Pinot Noirs. This is our third or fourth. I've kind of lost track. But this is definitely different, and I do taste the cherry right up front.
And sometimes it's almost described as Michigan Bing cherry because it's a very distinctive flavor. And these wines are very difficult to get in the Midwest. Very few of them make it this far because they're mostly consumed in California.
All right, so what would you pair this with? Because this is a little bit, has a very distinctive taste. What kind of food would you pair this with?
One of my favorites with this is anything with roasted beets. It's just a phenomenal combination. Again, you're back to dark poultry, wild rice and cranberries. It's just amazingly versatile. But one of the things I love about this particular style of wine is I can just sit and drink this.
Okay.
You can actually throw a little chill on it in the summertime.
Yeah. No, I was thinking this could be a very nice warm weather summer wine, couldn't it? Because it's very, very refreshing, kind of very, very tasty but light.
You bet. Think of this with bratwurst. Amazing. Any kind of German sausage. And it's just a really, really fun wine.
So from avoiding a hangover to don't blame the grape to the art of swirling, Jeff, it has been a great conversation. Thanks again. I appreciate
Thank you, Charlie.
it. Thank you.